Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is just a third in our trilogy on fundraising. And we'll go straight to the point. Of course, everybody knows that we are Masjid al-Islam. This is the headquarters of As-Sabiqun movement. And at this time, As-Sabiqun is located in D.C. and in California. Up to about a few years ago, we had as many as 10 Masjid. 8 of them was open at the same time. And we've been doing well. You say doing well, you go from 8 to 2. Well, if we was like everybody else, we'd go back to nothing. Because everybody that was trying to be serious, you don't see them no more. They raided their communities. They've turned the community upside down. And they've turned the community in on itself. But instead of that, we have survived. We've always talked about longevity. Longevity is carry on over a long period of time. And it's also a protracted struggle. Masjid al-Islam, our As-Sabiqun movement, have always been focused on protractedness, because over a long period of time is what proves you to be whoever it is that you are. And so that's protracted struggle. I mean, it's stretched out over a long period of time. And longevity, it reminds you in Martin Luther King's last speech, he said longevity has its place. In other words, anyone would like to live a long time, but he kind of knew that he wasn't going to live a long time. And so he said longevity has its place, but then he went on, and I've been to the mountaintop. Well, everybody have their own mountaintop. We want to start tonight with our fundraiser. Now this goes out on video, and we'll start at $25,000 each. Now you said that's a lot of money for Negroes, but all the other communities start at $25,000. Then they ease up to 50. Or they say, who want to double that up? And we've been to all these fundraisers. We did security for them, for CARE over there at Seven Corners. They started, they had people raising both hands for $25,000. In other words, they was giving $50,000. And they was giving it to CARE, who cut their throat and stuck them in the back. Well, we've been around so long, you don't have to worry about that. You can already see our record. So we're starting at $25,000. That means any of you dear believers out there that either have on hand now, or you can hustle it up some kind of way in some type of miraculous combination, that's what we would like for you to do if possible. $25,000. If you can't hook up $25,000, then we'll ease down to where you'd be more comfortable, like $10,000. Now that's really getting into the comfort zone, because I know all of y'all got at least 10 grand sitting off somewhere, you know. 10,000 is a Negro number. They just have that. They keep it around all the time. So, and it's better to give it than to keep it for yourself. Now, I know that don't make sense to you, but it makes sense to us. And it makes sense to the Quran, that it's better to give, right? Now, you may not believe that's true, but I tell you, I'll give you an example. We had a school here, and that school went for about 10 years. And over a period of time, I personally put about, you add up all the heating and all this, that, and that, about $500,000, $500,000. And sometimes the teachers would say, this kid can't go. Their parents haven't given them money. They go on a field trip. I said, well, they can't keep nobody back, so we would pay for it automatically. And well, we got to put them out. One parent owed about $3,000, $4,000. I said, you can't blame a kid. This is the best school in town, right? You can't blame a kid for having I didn't say dumb parent, but a slow parent, right? I'm just telling you. So we've already proved who we are, decades. You can't go year in and year out with the same behavior and it not clarify who who you are. So whatever you give to us, now we want to go into the area where everybody can raise both hands. $1,000. I'm skipping five, and I'm gonna just go down to $1,000. That means your Eid gift. You want to expand it. That means you can get together with a collection of sisters and brothers, and you know, make that move. That's what we're saying. We're requesting that. Here's why. Well, I told y'all that, first of all, y'all know the government hit our accounts and took our money out of our accounts several years ago. It wasn't but 100,000 in there. That wasn't a big deal. But then, so we started stashing money and not putting it in the bank. And the dear government hit that. And then the last week when we started this is, see, it seemed like the government can, they know how to find your money. And they did. And again, so we'll keep them busy. Remember, that stuff don't make us despondent or sad. It makes us happy. You know why? We've been doing this for decade and decade, and we're still here. Everybody else got sad and quit, and we just happy as we can be. So alhamdulillah. Okay, I'll go on a little bit. And what we want to do is expand and upgrade. If you look at all the property around here. Now, Masjid al-Islam owns 8 pieces of property in this area. That means every property you see, we own it. We don't pay on it. We bought it right away. Everything, the masjid, the houses you see, we own those. We don't, we're not renting those or anything. So we own, in fact, just to tell a little story, we was writing out a paper to this foundation to help us with funds. So he said, why don't you just make out a little outline of what you guys look like? So he looked at it. He said, I don't think you guys are mustadafin. That's the poor, the weak, and oppressed. I said, yeah, when you look at the paper, you would think we was property owners, in other words. But anyway, the Imam Tufel Center that we're going to deal with the property we have now, that is to the next stage of our struggle is psycho-spiritual jihad. Now remember, before we had different levels. Psychological guerrilla warfare. That's our own style of fighting. But this time is psycho-spiritual jihad. Why psycho-spiritual jihad? You always try to choose something where your enemy is weak. So our enemy is weak psychologically. Look at the president now. He's falling asleep, people making fun of him. He's a symptom of America, right? And America haven't lost a war since I was a kid. Well, it's been not quite that long, but it's been a long time. They lost in Vietnam. Well, they said they beat the people in Grenada and Panama, but that don't count. Okay, so we want to expand and improve all our property around here, which you see when you come and go. It looks like it's run down. Well, we'll leave it run down. We work when we get ready, not when the people tell us, you ought to fix that. Well, you go fix it. We'll fix it when we get ready, like now. Okay. So expand and upgrade, and the property over there, we will open up the Imam Tufel Strategic Command Center. And that's what we're going to do there. And remember, we are a liberation movement, not beggars. See, when we go out with boxes, some people think the Poe brothers is begging, Well, that helps you a lot because you got to have a good attitude to go out and stand there with a box and people look at you. Most people look at you kind of stupid like, right? Some people hold up their nose. That builds your character because they're not analyzing you correctly. They're looking at you like you're a beggar with a box, right? They don't look at you like you taking charge and leadership of the Islamic movement in North America, which we are, because all the other brothers are retired. And plus they're so sad after they're not being accepted and sought after much more. Well, you know the article they had, how they're despondent. We ain't despondent. Despondent because the people don't need them no more, and then got them to raise millions of dollars for the immigrant. We're not, anyway, long story. Again, so your yearly zakat, which Ramadan is when many people pay it, but you could do the form of sadaqah, which improves your wealth, zakatul mal, to give to the center that it keeps the money for the Muslim, or zakatul fitr. And all of it, we would appreciate it, and we thank you beforehand. The last thing I would just like to say, the government is not going to push us around. They never have, and as far as we're concerned, they never will. They can push other people around, but they ain't pushing us around. And we don't feel like we need them, or we don't feel lonely like there's nice people in here. We feel like there's a million people in here. Technically, I'm telling you, never care about the amount of people, always the quality, right? Because the biggest thing they do to people, like they fill up our community. You come here to eat, sometimes people can't get in. And you come now, there's plenty of room. So they try to make it look like something you have done wrong. And then the people are so stupid, not stupid, they feel sad. What did I do wrong? Well, we ain't did nothing wrong. What we did is right, that we challenge in the Zionist American system, and everybody else is scared to come around because they don't want to be around there because boss man might get mad at them. Okay, so our goal for now is $500,000, and inshallah that'll help us during this section. But our ultimate goal is to wrap this all up, go back to California, sue the government for everything that they have done to us, and we'll sue them for, the number now is $300 million, but since somebody stole our money last week, we might bump it up to $400 million. And you're just saying that poor guy, he's been under so much pressure, he's starting to get a little loose and getting tighter every day. So we're not AMC and we're not CARE. The kind of struggle we've been carrying on, and I'll close with this. There's a brother that comes here every night from Somalia. When he told me he was from Somalia, I thought I could say, I'll tell him. Okay, when he comes in and just sitting around getting ready, ask him about Muhammad Abdullah Hassan. You ever heard of that name? Muhammad Abdullah Hassan. Muhammad Abdullah Hassan, in the first part of the last century, let's say from 1900 to about 1921, he fought the British to a standstill, and after World War I, they developed air power, so they could go out in the desert and they could trap him. So he lasted over 20 years. But not only did he last, but he did something that our heroes do. He's one of our heroes. Remember who we said our main heroes would be? Muhammad Ali and Jack Johnson, right? Now, why would we have them guys as heroes? Well, Mo gonna fall in 4, Muhammad Ali, he would tell you, I'm gonna knock out this guy in the 4th round, and he would, half the time he would do it, right? And Jack Johnson was from way See, Jack Johnson was not the young people's hero today. Jack Johnson was during my father's time. He was born in 1900, and they was 10 years old kids when Jack Johnson won the championship. And my father used to tell me that when Jack Johnson won the championship, not only was a big riot, they killed a lot of black people, but one guy went down to a restaurant. He said, "Give me some coffee, black as Jack Johnson, and give me some eggs beat up like Jim Jeffries." And they kind of hung him for it. But that was the champion that the old people loved, because he was standing up for just a black champion. In 1910, hey man, that was